Hello there, in this video I will show you my design for a starter house for ARK Ascended. I built this house myself in survival in a pretty cool location, but for the sake of this video and to make it a little bit more realistic as a starter house, I'm choosing a relatively easy place where you can build it as an example of how it could look in that setting. And then at the end of the video I will show you how it can look in a totally different setting, basically showing you how you can adjust designs to make it suit your location specifically. Okay, so to get started we're gonna of course lay down a foundation, and this is very dependent of course of the area you want to build. You can go for a quite nice flat area, you can go a little bit more hilly. Just make sure you can actually connect them. We don't need that many connected, but enough to make a decent house. You can also raise your height, and of course we can adjust the build to that. What we want to do is basically do 2x4, very simple shape. That's going to be one part of the house, and then basically we want to do the same shape going the other way. Now the way I've designed the house is that you can really adjust it to your landscape. So for example, now we have pretty much flush on the back, so we might have like a back entrance here for example, where we can go straight into this area of the world. We can maybe have a side entrance if we would want to, and maybe we'll have a little porch area in front. It really depends on where you build, and I'll show another example at the end how I built this house in my own survival playthrough. But this is the general shape that we want, and then of course we can make it look a little bit better by going along the side with these beams, basically reinforcing it, giving it also some extra shape, which I really like. And I'm getting all sorts of levels up, but don't mind that, because it just gives some extra shape. And now we can also, you know, support these foundations even more with some pillars going down, which looks actually really nice. I don't think we can do the one there because it's basically in the ground. And that is all we need. So now we have a very basic shape. We've got a basic platform of what this house is gonna look like shape-wise. This is the basic. This is what you need to build the house, and everything else which you do around it is optional. So that's what we're gonna do last. We're first gonna focus on the house itself, and that house is gonna need some walls, of course. So for the walls, again, it depends a little bit of what you like. I at least want a door here because I want to have a porch going this way. So we'll place one here. For now, we're doing the walls just normal facing outwards. You can, of course, add more doors if you want. You could, for example, have a door going out the back here. And even if you wanted, you could have one on the side, for example. Really depends on your own taste. For now, we're just going to do that. And even you could add more doors, whatever you want. I don't think we need a door going that way in this case. And it's pretty much the same for the windows on the bottom floor. You can basically decide where do you want to have some windows. I think here it could be quite nice to enjoy the view because we have a very nice view. On this side, I think it's not as nice. So we're just gonna have normal walls. But if you have a very nice views on all sides, you can of course add more windows. I just use this as a wall because that means we can probably place some like storage against it. Now same here, we could add a wall or a window, but I don't think the view is actually gonna be that great on this side. Let's quickly see. It's alright. At least we can spot maybe enemies going there. We can definitely have a window here, and I think a normal wall there, and then we're gonna fill in normal walls here as well, because we're gonna probably place the stairs going up in that corner, and that's a little bit easier if you have walls there instead of windows. So that is the basic layout for our house. But of course, you can change this if you need windows or doors in different places. Now, I like these reinforced doors a little bit more. If you're going to build this in survival, of course, this could be maybe a little bit too expensive. So you could also change that to like normal wooden doors or whatever. I'm basically just building for looks now. So yeah, that's why we're going with those, because I just like them a little bit more. And then I have these windows going out and up because I like that look also a little bit better than if they're going sideways. But again, I mean, that's basically personal preference, because it doesn't really change that much in the grand scheme of things. Now, here on the outside, we can basically build a little porch. You could do it with foundations if the world around you allows it. You can also, of course, just do it with ceilings if you really want to go for that porch look. And then we can see if we can come up with like a nice shape. You just want to make sure that you don't do what I did right here, and that is to connect everything normally. Now, for now, I'm going to leave it at this because, as I said, I'm going to do the surroundings at the end because that really also depends on the way you place your doors and the way your landscape is. What we do need now is some pillars. Okay, so we're going to grab our wooden pillars and we're going to do the first floor and make it a little bit more supported. We definitely want to do all the corners, of course, just to make it look a little bit more like it's actually supported all the way through. You might want to add one extra here opposite the other one, and same on this side, just to make it look all nice and supported. And then we're gonna go for the beams as well, so we have a fully supported and a little bit more detailed floor. It just adds a little bit extra instead of having just like plain walls basically. And then we can start looking at where we want our staircase to be. I think we're gonna go for this corner, and then we're gonna try and get a nice stair in here if it will let me. Sometimes it could be just easier to first build your floor, because then you can just connect it hopefully up with that if it will realize what I'm trying to do here. Yeah, I think this is what we want here, because then we have a nice corner to go up to, and then we have the whole top floor, and you can hide some extra storage underneath as well. Nice and easy. So now we can go and fill in the entire floor. There we go. So that's going to be our next layer. And then we're going to also want to place two of them here, because we're going to also add a little extra balcony, which we of course also want to add some supports to, because supports make the building. Yeah, we want to go like this, and then of course we want some fences or railings. Now you can decide whether you want to do it like this or leave the beam out of it if you want to go for maybe a cleaner look. It's really all up to your preference, whether you like the stronger beams or maybe you want the completely clean look. I really don't have a strong preference for either. Maybe if you want to make it look more like an actual addition to the house instead of part of the house, this might be a little bit better, because otherwise it can be quite bulky, but both are fine to do. It also saves you some materials if you're building it in survival, of course. Okay, then we have the next layer where we're going to again use wooden walls, but this time we are going to flip them to the outside so that we have the different texture on the outsides. And we're going to do some different things with the windows. We're going to have these basically doors as windows, and I want two nice windows there looking out over that side. I want two nice windows here looking out over this side. And then I might also add some windows to this side as well. But again, you could have, depending on your surroundings, just have walls on some sides. I would have these two places at least, like the ends of the house. I would at least try to face them towards some nice views, because otherwise it's going to be quite depressing inside if you don't have any windows. And then for the rest, I wouldn't add too many windows unless you really want to. Of course, you could add more on that side, or, well, I wouldn't add more on this side. That would probably look very busy. And then here, you could add a window, but there's a balcony already. So we do want to have a door here. Probably going to go with the smaller door because it's just a small balcony to go outside there. And then we're just going to check if we placed all the walls facing to the outside. I think so. So what you get now with this is basically that we have two layers. So we have the normal way of walls on the bottom floor, and then we've got it the other way around on the next floor, which makes it look a little bit different. That basically makes it look like two materials. Another advantage of this is that you could paint these, the second floor, basically you can paint these wooden walls to make them different colors if you want to go for like a maybe more stylistic approach, or the less wooden look. Maybe make them red or whatever color you want to use, to make it even more different or more unique to your own base. Then, of course, we want to make sure that we have some railings in this building, because right now it's quite dangerous. We want to have one here for the stairs so that we can just, you know, not jump off the stairs. And we want to add some into the windows as well, so you don't walk out of them. You could actually put like greenhouse doors in these as windows. I don't particularly like that look. I just prefer having it as these like railings where I can look out and actually enjoy the views, because the greenhouse doors or windows aren't really that clear. And now I can at least really enjoy my view. Oh, we almost forgot these. There we go. So then we have another layer done, basically, like the basics of it. And of course, we're going to add some more supports to it. So basically where we already had the beams, we want to make sure they are going to continue. There we go. So now we're going to move on to the roof, and this is where it's going to get a little bit more complicated. So I'm going to try to be very clear on how to do it. Instead of just placing or sloped walls here, we're going to make it a little bit more interesting of a roof design. So what you're going to need is these quarter walls, and you need to pay attention, because if you place this one on top of it, it's not going to fit in the right way. So we want to make sure that we flip it so that the sides of these align very nicely. And you can check that when placing this one, because if it fits into it nicely, then it means that you're doing it right. If they don't fit into each other, like if you get these gaps, it means you pick the wrong one. So basically the bottom layer you pick one, and then you flip it to the other one for the second layer, and then you can place your sloped roof next to it. Then what we want to do is place another sloped roof slightly into the first one we placed, so that we get basically this shape as a roof, and which this is going to allow us basically to have a little overhang for our roof design, which I personally really like, and I find that this is pretty much the easiest way to get that and also look good. And it's not too hard to do as well, even in survival, which is also kind of nice, that you don't have to do some like weird tricks. You don't have to enable any different rules, I think. At least for me, this was working straight away. Yeah, and then you just make those shapes on at least the ends of the house, and then you have another decision to make, because we want to have the roof go out to one of these sides. So either on this part of these two walls or on these two walls, you need to repeat the same design. Where you want to do that is up to you. I would also make sure that where you want to have that place is where you have these windows. So again, that probably depends mostly on where you want to build this. So for me, it's definitely going to be on this side because we also placed the windows there. We have the best view there. So it makes a little bit more sense here. And then we do this again and we have our nice little roof shape. So this means that we're ready, almost ready to start building the actual roofs. But we have one more thing to take care of. Okay, what you want to have is these little quarter ceilings because we need to have a little platform here with 2 ceilings and then a wall in there like this. This is just so that we can clip our roof in the right place. And I have tried a lot of ways to do this, but this is the easiest way to get it done. In my experience, this is the easiest way to do this, but if you have a different way to do it, a more easy way, please let me know. But this is pretty doable also in survival. You might have to jump a little bit sometimes, but you will be able to do this in survival. Now we're going to start the roof. This can be quite complicated because of we're going to have to do some clipping in some places. The snapping, of course, not always the greatest. I would strongly recommend, because I think it might not be possible or it will take you a very long time to get the right snap points, to do the bottom layer of the roof first before you do the top layer. So we're going to start on this side because this side is probably going to be the easiest because we have the least amount of weird things. So we want to have the first roof right there. Then we can just have it going all across like this. And now you can see we have the little small overhang here, which I think looks great, is the way I would want the roof. And then we want the second layer of roof basically like this. Now, as I said, this is the easy side of my house because we have no corners or anything to take care of. Okay, so we have basically the easy side of the roof done, which is pretty straightforward as long as you start with the bottom row. Now it's gonna get a little bit more complicated because we have the corners, of course. We're gonna start relatively the same here because the first layer isn't actually too difficult because we have pretty much a normal corner here. Like we just do it like this, and then we have a normal corner in the roof, all nice and smooth. And also, and that's very important to check if you place it right, no weird roof on the inside, like no overlapping. This is where we're gonna have a slightly different thing. Now we're gonna place this roof and then we're going to place the original roof because we want to make sure that we align the corner correctly, because now we can have this, which will make sure that the corner is nice and easy. And then we basically continue the roof again, and once we reach this place, we want to make sure that we try and get the roof in again, which can sometimes be a little finicky. What can sometimes help is place it on the other side and trying to get it to snap with that. And then we have this one done. We want to start again for this side. Make sure you remove, if you place this one to help you, remove that first, because that makes it a lot easier to place the bottom one, and then you can connect it again. Then here we can just stay normal roofs for now and then build a corner here. So we have the start of our little roof sticking out to this side. And then here, of course, it gets a little bit interesting again. We basically want to make sure that we align the corners correctly again. So what we want to do is you want to have this roof here so we can make the same corner so it perfectly aligns again. And then here we want to make sure to get this corner so that we complete the roof on this side, and it is all looking good. And then all you need to do is fill in this last roof so that we now have our nice little corner here. We've got the normal roof side here, normal roof side on this side as well. Nice corner going all the way through, and a nice roof here as well. And now if we go inside to see if all the corners and roofs are nicely connected, you can see it's all perfectly normal. Now what you want to do now is get out your walls and make sure that you place some quarter walls on top here so that we don't see the gap between the roof and the walls. Just to make it look a little bit nicer. You can probably, yeah, you can just connect this as well. And then we want to make sure that we go ahead with our pillars and make sure we place them in. Make sure they connect to the right snapping spots. Sometimes they are a little bit finicky, but you should be able to do ones that don't really stick out of the roof too much and overlap a little bit with the pillars you already have. And that makes it look a little bit better so that it's all supported. You don't want to do any beams on top because that will really mess with your roof a lot. You will definitely notice that. So yeah, then you can basically start decorating the insides because yeah, we have our doors, we have our staircase going up, we have our beams, we got our windows in. I think this is a really nice and easy house. Doesn't take too much time, but now you can even add more details. What I really like is to spice up the roof a little bit, for which we are going to use more fences. And the way I would like to do it is basically connect them here on the outside as basically a little bit of decoration. And yeah, I don't know. I just like the look of it, like it's sticking out a little bit. Adds some structure, and it's fairly easy to do. Even in survival, I built this, so it's a nice addition to do. You might need a flyer to get up the roof for the next part. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna definitely take this away because that was not where it's meant to be. Yeah, so this is a really easy addition you can do to add some extra detail to the roof. I already think that looks a lot better. Then you can pretty much do the same to the top of the roof. Like you flip it and you can basically just connect them all over the roof. I think this looks quite nice. Adds a little bit of more character to your roof. Just make sure they are snapping the right way. And then here you want to make sure that you get the right one so it doesn't stick out too much. So yeah, I really like these details. You can add more if you want to. You could like, you know, you could try and connect them. But because of the snapping of the roof and the placement of the roof, it might be difficult to get them in the right places everywhere. Like we have double layers of roofs, so you could leave it like this. What I do like is to add a little bit more on these ones, just as a extra support here, extra detail here. And of course you can go as crazy as you like. You could even connect some more to this like this, but I think that's really up to you if you want to go this far, because it's starting to stick out a lot, of course. But at least having them along the bottom, I think. Oops, we had them already. Why did I? There we go. I think it adds just that extra little detail, a little bit more character to your build, and it's not too much work to get them there. All right, there we go. So we have the roof detailed a little bit more, and of course you can add as many details as you like. What I definitely like to do is make sure to get a chimney in So this is where I place my chimney at the upstairs, right next to the window, because you get the nice one sticking out on the roof, and it just looks so cool. Especially when you light it, you actually see the smoke. Just adds so much character to the build. This is basically the basics and the whole structure done. This is the house you can use. As I said, you can paint it if you want to give the top floor a little bit more color. You could try and add more fences to the roof if you want even more detail, but I think this is very doable, very easy to build as a starter base. And then the only thing that you might want to extend and adjust is like your little porch on the outside. And for the porch, you can basically do whatever shape you want, but what I like to do is have the first layer with just the normal ceilings and then go with the triangles on the outside, because you can make shapes that are a little bit more interesting than just the basic ones. And then for this, probably gonna have like a stairs going down there. But yeah, this part of course really depends on what your local ground looks like. This is a neat trick to get a little bit of a curve in, and I think that works very well for this part. And I think I want another entrance basically to my porch right there, and then maybe you could add one here as well if you want to have multiple options. Then what you might want to do is of course get some nice support in. So if you place the wall like this, you can have the support, because otherwise it will always go higher than you want probably. So you can make sure you get your pillars in, and you can add some next extra foundations. Of course, this is also a way to make a bigger porch if you need to. I don't think that we need to, especially not here. But yeah, it just does look nice that you have the pillars that aren't going too crazy high. So I like to add them on all sides of at least where my stair points are going to be, just because I think that looks like a logical place. And then maybe I might want to add like one here. This would be a nice place as well for some extra support. Yeah, you can get rid of all the ceilings because we only need them basically to place the pillars on the right height. And then personally, I do like to have some fences around my porch because I think it makes it all complete. So what I would do is add some extra fences along the sides just to have that extra little bit of safety structure. And of course, it also just adds to the look of your base because let's be honest, this looks a little bit nice. And there we go. We already have a quite nice looking starter base. You can also use the porch, of course, to have like campfire or maybe the cooking pot or even some dinos you could have here. So they are a little bit safer because they are behind the fence. And of course, you could extend it with like a dino pen on the side if you have the space, if it's flat enough to build on. But dino should already be a little bit safer on the porch itself. As promised, I'm giving you a little look of how this house can look if you build it somewhere random on the map. This isn't a very particularly flat spot with a lot of space, so I've adjusted this design a little bit to my surroundings. One of the main differences you might instantly notice is that I have gone for a little bit of a different roof design. I've added some extra details with more fences along the whole bottom layer basically, because I think it looks very good. And of course, I've painted the roof black because it basically makes it look like a whole new material, and I really like the look of that. And then the other big difference is, of course, my porch area is a little bit bigger than I showed, but this is just to adjust for my space. I'm building here in these ruins, so I wanted to have like connections to this walkway, for example. So that's why I have one stairs here. The other ones is only to the inside of the house, no connection to this side of the house, because again, I wanted to have connection to the ruins there as well. So even though I'm calling this like a starter house. You can definitely build it in some more dangerous areas as well, because I really just enjoy the look of this design. And then another thing I mentioned, of course, is to customize it to what you need. I have basically no windows on the bottom floor, only this one because I still have quite a nice view here. I have a door here because I wanted to connect to this part of the landscape, in this case the ruin. Same goes for this door, connects very nicely to the ruin as well. You might see that I also use greenhouse doors because I'm living in this ruin. I want to enjoy the fact that I live in this ruin and enjoy the view. So I've gone for more of the greenhouse look so I can see outside. And this one I'm very proud of, connects perfectly to this shape in the ruin, which is kind of how this whole build got started. And then because I don't have that many windows on the downstairs area, this basically allows me to use this as a big storage room because I have all walls where I can just place some storage in front. For the rest, I don't have that many decorations yet. I might want to add like a little table or something to make it a little bit more cozy inside as well. Then for the upstairs, we of course have our big windows here where we can look out over the view again. No windows there because I'm facing the ruin wall here, so makes no sense to do it, which does allow me to have some bigger machinery in here, even though it's quite a small starter home. And then of course we've got the fireplace right here to have a little bit more of a cozy feel next to my bed. And then we have the balcony to enjoy the view. As I said, I really enjoy the way this turned out. I think it looked quite nice. Let me know what you guys think. And if you want to see more building tutorials as I continue to build more in ARK and to explore more of the options, I'm sure I can come up with some different builds. If you've got any suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. And if you want to see a list of like building locations like these ruins, for example, let me know as well, because I'm playing this game not for the PvP, as you can see, because this is definitely not a PvP base, but just to have some nice buildings, nice bases in nice locations like this. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.